It started on a cold, rainy evening. Nathan, a 24-year-old history enthusiast, was sorting through his late grandfather's attic, a place filled with dusty books, ancient trinkets, and forgotten memories. But among the clutter, something stood out. A rolled-up, blackened piece of parchment, hidden inside a weathered leather case. The edges were burnt, and the ink seemed wrong, almost alive. Nathan unrolled the map carefully. It was unlike anything he'd ever seen. No compass rose, no legend, just strange symbols and a single winding path that led to a mark labeled X. But what really unnerved him was the text etched at the bottom in faded crimson ink. Not all treasures are meant to be found. Despite the ominous warning, curiosity took hold. Nathan's grandfather had traveled extensively, and he wondered if this map was one of his mysterious finds. Determined to solve the riddle, Nathan spent the next few hours researching the symbols, discovering that they resembled an ancient, obscure language, one associated with lost civilizations and forbidden knowledge. The next morning, he made a decision. He would follow the map. The coordinates led to an uncharted forest just outside the small town of Black Hollow, a place known for its eerie stillness and local legends of people disappearing without a trace. Nathan's best friend, Eric, insisted on joining him. "You're not going into some creepy forest alone. This is how horror movies start," Eric joked, though the tension in his voice betrayed his unease. They packed their bags, flashlights, food, a compass, which they later discovered would prove useless, and drove to the forest's edge. As they stepped into the thick undergrowth, something felt off. The air was colder, heavier. Birds were silent. No rustling of small animals, just emptiness. The map seemed to guide them effortlessly, almost as if the path was unfolding just for them. Hours passed, but instead of exhaustion, they felt an odd compulsion to keep going. At one point, Eric whispered, "I feel like we're being watched." And though Nathan wanted to dismiss it, he felt it too, an invisible presence, always just beyond the trees. By sunset, they reached a clearing, where a massive moss-covered stone slab lay half-buried in the ground. The X on the map corresponded exactly to this spot. Without thinking, Nathan began digging, hands raw, driven by a force he couldn't explain. After what felt like an eternity, their hands struck something solid, a wooden chest, ancient and blackened, sealed with rusted iron. They pried it open, revealing not gold or jewels, but a single obsidian dagger resting atop a pile of bones. Human bones. A sudden gust of wind howled through the clearing, and the map, now lying on the ground, burst into flames. The forest seemed to darken, the air thick with a choking energy. Eric panicked, yelled, "We need to leave, now!" But Nathan couldn't move. The dagger seemed to call to him. Against his better judgment, he picked it up. The world shifted. For a brief, horrifying moment, Nathan saw what the map had hidden. The dagger was not a treasure, but a key, one meant to keep something locked away. And now, by taking it, he had broken that seal. Shadows twisted around them, shapes forming from the darkness of the trees. They weren't alone anymore. The forest had awakened. Realizing their mistake, Nathan dropped the dagger back into the chest and shoved the lid closed. The oppressive air lifted, if only slightly. Without looking back, they ran until their lungs burned, ran until the forest's edge came into sight, and the nightmare seemed to recede. Back in the safety of Nathan's apartment, they didn't speak of what happened. But the warning on the map haunted Nathan's thoughts. Not all treasures are meant to be found. The next day, Nathan returned to the attic, searching for any clue about the map's origin, but the leather case was gone, as if it had never existed. Yet at night, Nathan swore he could hear faint whispers, calling him back to the forest. Because some things, once found, never truly let you go.